Welcome to Stone Cottage Adventures. Here we are. I think today's date is the 20th of October, 21st maybe. And I'm going to share with you what's blooming in the garden. The asters have been going since late August, but this particular bush right here has the most magnificent blooms, and it's one of the latest to bloom. And here's my horse chestnut tree that's losing its leaves. You can see it's browning. And up above me is the dogwood turning red. And I'll share with you what else is blooming in the garden. Now here we can see the chrysanthemums. I have several that are the deep magenta color, and then one that's more of a red burgundy color. And then back behind you see a little bit of red in there. That is the oak leaf hydrangea that's turning. And I'll take you over into the front. Now these seed heads are the wild garlic, onion, something like that. And they're probably setting seeds everywhere, which I'll probably regret later on. And these are the asters that bloomed earlier. I've cut them back, but there's still some that are blooming. Now on this side of the yard, this is the flower bed that I completely redid, and I stuck in some old chrysanthemums. These are chrysanthemums from last year that survived in pots over the winter, and I just stuck them in the ground. Again, two different colors. And then the yellow here, those are some dahlias. They're annuals, so they won't come back next year, but they have really set some beautiful blooms. A really pretty dahlia. And here's the, I think it's called Candance hydrangea that I brought on clearance at Home Depot for like 15 bucks. And here is my basil. And I bought some garlic today. I've got everything I need now to make some pesto to stick in the freezer. And this is the little Mexican heather, I think is what that is. They just called it heather, but I think that's what it is because it does not overwinter. It's treated as an annual. Beautiful colors, and a little bit of the echinacea. Mostly it's the seeds. I have not cut back the seeds because my understanding is there are birds that actually eat those. And a little bit, the purple there is the spiderwort that's doing its fall bloom. There's another one of those dahlias. This dahlia has not set as many blooms as the one a little further back for some reason. And in the distance there you can see turning the viburnum, and it does have some little red berries on it. I don't know that we can get close enough to see that, but I rarely see them unless I look up high because the birds like to eat those. Now this bed I have very much cut back, and we'll see if the grass can't recover, but that had the perennial, the blue mist, and it kind of crowds out the grass. And this is kind of interesting looking back this direction. That's the crepe myrtle, but it kind of echoes the colors found in the chrysanthemums. And here is this rose bush that blooms clear into November, easily around Thanksgiving time. Here's the oak leaf hydrangea. You can see the ones on the far side have really put on their color, and the ones here on closer to me have not yet joined the party. But you can see the neighbor's dogwood tree. Beautiful colors in that tree. Now I'm going to show you a little preview of coming attractions. This is my Edgeworthia, the Chinese paper bush, and it is covered with buds. They look kind of like a little tiny cabbage or something in there. Those will not bloom until March, and it will drop all of its leaves, and then the flowers will come out, and that is quite a show in the early spring. Now here is probably my favorite October flower, and it's looking very spectacular. This is the toad lily, is the common name. Tricertus is the scientific name, and in general it looks kind of like this branch right here, the one right in the middle of the screen. But this year it has really put on quite the show with these really thick clusters of flowers. You can see they look kind of like a speckled orchid or something. Absolutely beautiful flowers. And they bloom right where the leaves have kind of a little whorl, and they bloom right there inside the leaf. It's just some New Guinea impatiens that's still blooming. And this is a little bit early, usually another 2 weeks or so. It's kind of an early November bloomer. This is the monkshood just starting to come out. Now I was over driving in one of the neighborhoods, and they had this huge stand of monkshood that was really putting on quite a spectacular show. So they were ahead of mine, sunnier location than mine is, but you can see quite a few blooms getting ready to set. Now I will show you, this is not very interesting or exciting in and of itself, I suppose. These are my foxglove. This is the row that the squirrels get into and dig. But up here, I've grown these from seed, yucky row, squirrel row, and the row down here that I've got over 30 of them that are a nice size that I'm going to plant out at various spots in the yard so I can have foxglove. They are a biennial. They're supposed to self-seed, but I have never had much luck with the self-seeding. So those will go out and we'll have foxglove in the spring. Give you a little close-up of this monkshood, and you can see how big the individual blooms are, and you can see how it has a little hood on it. See where it gets its name? It's so cute, and it'll bloom all down the stem. And over here you can see the others starting to come out, and I am very much looking forward to that. Now over here, this bush right here is a burning bush, and Euonymus is the scientific name, but it will turn. You can see those leaves that are that brilliant red color. That entire bush will turn that brilliant red color, and it'll be amazing, a really beautiful fall color. And I think they must have come up with the Whomping Willow like this. You know how the Whomping Willow kind of shook and all the leaves fell off at once, and that's kind of the way the euonymus is. It's absolutely spectacular, and one day a breeze comes along and takes off all the leaves. And I know it's invasive, but it really adds pretty color. It's a little more of the monkshood, aconitum, scientific name. And you can see he's not quite blooming, but he's getting ready. They're definitely on the verge. Every day it'll just be a little bit more spectacular. There's the hydrangea with the pink that occurs in the fall. I already have some turning brown, but I love the colors this time of year in the hydrangea. And this is the one I've shown this before. On top it'll be pink, and on the bottom side it's more green, but the sunlight turns it red, and the underneath side is the green. Now this time of year, worse than most other times of the year, we have a lot of leaves, and whenever you see a cluster of leaves like what's stuck in that's an azalea bush, and what's stuck in there, that's part of a squirrel's nest. And the winds come along and knock all their nests out of the tree, and I end up with these great clumps all over the ground. And within the next 2 weeks, the leaves are going to start to really come down, and then we'll have, until right before Christmas, heavy leaf cover. So I end up going outside every day and raking leaves. And there's my heuchera that adds some really pretty color. That one is done really well. And this one over here is more of a purple color. And sadly, I think the squirrels can really get into that one, so it hasn't done as good a job of growing as the other. Now, here is the camellia, and it's going to keep its leaves. But one of the things I love about it, again, it's setting its buds. You can see the early spring bloomers. And this will bloom in, I'm trying to think, it probably early March. It starts to put on these spectacular 3 or 4 inch beautiful pink blossoms. And so it needs to set its buds now, so it's all ready. And this is the azalea, and if you look on the end of the azalea, again, what you're going to see, that is the floral bud. So our early spring bloomers, I love to see the buds that are going to be coming next spring. It's just fun to see them setting right now. Look, there's our squirrel's nest. I can see another one right up there. Now, these things make me crazy. The squirrels. Now, a few weeks ago I did a video, and I said I was going to move. I had to get my husband to help me with this because it was in really hard ground with a lot of roots in it. But we pulled out this hosta. It's a lighter colored one, so it's slower growing. And it was being choked out. It was right back in here, and it was just being shaded out by these other hostas. And then I planted a new tassel fern right in there, and hopefully this will give a little more interest to this little area here. And there's our Japanese painted fern. And this area, full of hostas, is going to be rather barren during the winter, because these are all perennials that die back. And our only interest here is a few ferns that are planted in here. And I do have 3 or 4 ferns. Probably ought to add some more just to give it a little more interest. Here's another really pretty fern that I love. Now, here is the garden phlox. It did a really good job of blooming, and we've got a lot of seed heads on top. And I tend to leave them in hopes that they will just freely seed all over the place. Because those really are fun to see, and I still have, oh my goodness, check it out. Yeah, you can see the squirrel's nest, but there is a beautiful pink azalea blooming right there. I guess he got a little confused. It's not spring deer, but for some reason he's blooming. And that is the little garden phlox. He was back in a little shaded spot, so a little slower blooming. And there are the just small, inexpensive impatiens. Anyway, that's a little bit of a look what's happening in mid to late October here in the garden as the seasons start to change. And in the next few weeks, we'll be putting the garden to bed, planting our bulbs, and getting everything all set for winter. Thanks for coming along. I'll see you next time.